Check out the Full Press Hockey Podcast with Jim Biringer, the best in the business. It's going to be great.
Hello, everyone. Welcome, Full Press NHL hockey fans. Final word on hockey fans, spitballing sports hockey fans here on Northeast Streaming Sports. You can find it everywhere. Big collaboration here. Full Press Hockey, final word on hockey. I am still in Las Vegas. Just wrapped up the NHL Draft, 2024 NHL Draft. Back with my co-host, John Restaino. The Sphere came off awesome. The draft was great. We're heading to free agency. But holy Toledo, what did we just witness today?
Yeah, first off, I'm going to say, and you were there, on TV, the Sphere came off great. The NHL wins. That was a great performance. The whole thing was awesome that I watched on TV. July 1st started today, and it started pretty with a bang, man. There was a lot.
Yeah, it was. I mean, look, there's been a lot of rumblings. Look, July 1st is Monday, free agency friendly. Today felt like NHL trade deadline part 2.
Yep.
And John mentioned it off the top, right? Washington Capitals, but makes trades start early. There have been rumblings about Jacob Trouba going to the Detroit Red Wings. That hasn't been materialized yet. We had the buyouts happening, but there was trades galore, and it didn't stop, and it started early. The Utah Hockey Club had 0 defensemen signed this year. Right. They got 2, one of which comes from the Tampa Bay Lightning. Mikhail Sergachev from the Tampa Bay Lightning goes to the Utah Hockey Club. Connor Geekie, J.J. Moser, the 199th overall pick this year, and a 2025 second via Toronto Maple Leafs go to the Tampa Bay Lightning. But the Lightning weren't finished. They sent Tanner Jeannot to LA Kings. Look,
that was not.
The Tampa Bay Lightning cleared a lot of cap space, $16.5 million they have now. They cleared about $11.5 million in about an hour. And look, we know what Julian Breezewell wants to do, right? He wants to get Victor Hedman's extension announced Monday. But the big question is about Steven Stamkos. And Julian Breezewell spoke today after the draft, and he said, nothing's changed with Stamkos. The offer is on the table. This is what we think he deserves. His camp disrespectfully declined. They're going to try to work on something before July 1st. May have to happen on July 1st, but Steven Stamkos will be testing the open market on July 1st.
Jim, what does that look like to you with Stamkos? Like, what is the number? Is it $7 million a year for him, or?
I think I talked about this last time when we were here. We did the show together the other day. I believe the number is going to be around $6.5–7 million. The Lightning came in, from my indications, somewhere in the 3s, even in the 4s. Look, you got it. I spoke with somebody. I'm going to keep the name confidential, but we had a nice discussion about this. And basically, he said, if you think about it, go back to when Stamkos signed with the Lightning his long-term deal. He never took a bridge deal with Tampa Bay. He came into the league, and then he got paid big. He never really took a true bridge deal, right? He had like a 4-year, like he had a mid-range deal, then he had a long-term deal when those backdiving. So he's gotten his money, and he got his money all the time. Like, he never had to wait for his money, right? Now, the team needs him to take less to be competitive. Look, Breezewell signed Sergachev to $8.5 million over 8 years last year. You know, he did it with Cirelli's got a long-term deal, Chernak. They did that all last year. And it continues to come down to dollar and cents how they can make the team better. But not keeping Steven Stamkos does not make your team better, even if you have a healthy Andrei Vasilevsky. Because Nikita Kucherov can do as much as he can. Points can do as much as he can. But how are you replacing Steven Stamkos? I know they're in on Jake Getsel. Great. But, I mean, come on. Like, he is Mr. Lightning.
Yeah, he's not I agree there, right? I mean, Gutzel can't be. He won't do what Stamkos does. He can't. He's not the same guy. He's got to stay in Tampa. I think he would. I mean, that is an interesting thing. I never even thought of that, and I bet you a lot of us out here listening never thought of that and watching. The fact that he never did bridge. So that's interesting. This is going to be interesting on Monday.
Right? You think about Point took a bridge, Kucherov took a bridge. Mm-hmm. Vasilevsky took a bridge, Sergachev took a bridge. Like, all these guys took bridge deals, but Stamkos didn't take a bridge deal. And I know the Lightning have history with St. Louis, Marty St. Louis, Vincent Lecavalier, Brad Richards. Like, all those guys left. I get it. McDonough came back after leaving. And that was like the strange move. Like you bring McDonough in it, but you feel like you're going to keep Stamkos and they want to get the band back together. But then they move at Sergachev. And look, Chernak's going to have to take more minutes. And look, we get it. It's a business, right? And we're going to talk about a certain team that doesn't think it's a business, but it's a business. And look, Julian Breezeball, I think, took a risk. He gambled. And I think he's going to shoot snake eyes since we're here in Vegas. I think he's going to come up empty because I think the team that's going to go after Steven Stamkos is the Detroit Red Wings. Now, I've heard Toronto, but they can't do it because Mitch Marner's still in Toronto. So I think Detroit is a good landing spot for Steven Stamkos. And don't forget, Detroit's still on Patrick Kane, too. As much as we think the Rangers, would it shock anybody because they have the cap space to get Kane on a short-term deal, Stamkos on a short-term deal, and go for the playoffs now?
Yeah. No, it wouldn't shock me at all. And it makes perfect sense. And they're right there. I can't imagine Tampa letting this.
They're gonna look different. They're gonna look a lot different next year. They're already gonna look better. Look, McDonough makes them better defensively in their own zone, but Sergachev, what he can do offensively, and I know he's not an $8.5 million player. Well, Darnell Nurse isn't a $9 million player, but guess what? Look, we're seeing a lot of bad contracts move. I get it, but let's be honest here. You lose Stamkos, this team's now going to get a lot worse. I understand who you have on this team, but your power play just got worse because the one-timer threat is gone.
Yeah, the whole thing, the playoff performances, the just it is going to get worse. It does get worse without him. Jake Getzel cannot take up the slack for what Steven Stamkos does. He's to me, he's Sidney Crosby. It's that same type of thing in my eyes. I'm not saying this. These are my points.
And the tone was set. And the tone was set last year, right? The tone was set last year when they didn't do the extension. Stamkos got hurt. He let his feelings be known at the beginning of the year, and he might go Rick Vaughn on him, right? Yeah. Everybody's seen Major League, right? Rick Vaughn. Yes. With the famous scene where like somebody's playing a joke on him that he got cut. Well, he goes in the room. He says, "Every time I pitch against you, I'm going to stick it up." You know what? Well, Stamkos, if he goes to the Detroit Red Wings, he's going to show the Tampa Bay Lightning why they should have never gotten rid of him. Because then you're going to have a motivated player who can still score 40 goals.
Oh boy, yeah. I got nothing. I mean, it's.
I know I'm stealing your thunder here, John, but
no, not at all. I mean, I just because to me, I mean, it just as I'm sitting here with my Leaf jersey shirt on, you think like what could be, but it can't. So if he goes to Detroit, look out, man, look out.
Look, I know New York probably will try to get him, but I know the Rangers want to get Kane or Getzel, one of those guys too. Carolina's making a push for Jake Getzel too. They try to keep him, but he hasn't signed that deal yet. I don't think that Vancouver. I've been told he doesn't want to go to Vancouver. And let's not forget another team that plays in South Florida, right? Another team right there. Well, Tampa's more North Florida, but the South Florida team, right. The Panthers, right? Everybody thinks this Sam Reinhart deal is a given. If it was a given, why isn't it done yet?
I know. And what's Sam going to be? Where does that 9? He's a $9 million player at this point.
Again, we know Elliot Friedman has said that the contract's there for 9. We know there's rumors Verhaeghe's up there for 6.5 at over 8 years. Montour, we know, is not coming back.
Yeah.
But I also been told that Reinhart deal, they still got ways to work on too. Ekblad's rumored now. Like, Florida Panthers went Miami Marlins, Florida Marlins, circa 97.
Reinhart, if he ends up somewhere other than Florida, I mean, would it shock me to see 10?
No. He's a $10 million player, but will he be a 50-goal scorer again?
Probably not. Probably no. Well, but probably not. I mean, if look, if history tells me
playing with Barkov, playing with that line, look, we see where now is Huberdeau that bad of a player? No, but sometimes you need this. You need the skill. I mean, Reinhart was getting good in Buffalo, but he wasn't this good.
Right. No. No, boy, they haven't even had their parade yet, right? So
I think it was today or tomorrow they're gonna have the parade, right? But the fun didn't even stop there, right? And look, before we get to the rest of the trades, because there's a lot of them, I want to get this out of the way right now. Robin sent me a question while I was after the draft was over about Marner, and I want to address it here. Look, the way Craig Berube was talking, and Dave McCarthy brought this up on a podcast too. Berube thinks he can fix the player. He says he's looking forward to coaching him. Barring some miracle, the Maple Leafs are running this thing back. It feels like it now. It feels like they're running this thing back. By the way, Toronto traded for the rights of Chris Tanev, and they have yet to have conversations. But, Brad Trivling wants Chris Tanev. So, okay. So how much you going to pay Tanev? That means Bertuzzi or Domi's not coming back.
yeah, I don't know what the hell they're doing. I mean,
and you need a goaltender.
right. I mean, Tanev to me's got to be like 5x5 or something to get him there. 5 million, 5 years. I mean, I guess
you still got to move Marner. I mean, think about it, right? If they're gonna keep Marner, you have to figure Tavares ain't going anywhere. Like, where are you finding this money?
Yeah,
like
next year,
so you say to yourself, well, you look at Tampa, right? And you say to yourself, well, look what Tampa's doing. Why can't Toronto do it? Right? I get it. Mitch controls the cards. I get it. He's got full no move clause. I get it. But, bro, like, you need to, help this team out here a little bit. You have to, but he doesn't want to.
We don't even know if they have a dance. Like, who's a trade partner? Like, we don't even know if that's even where that all stands. I mean, because it's
nobody knows where it stands because guess what? Vegas had a goaltender. They sent Logan Thompson to Washington. Great move, by the way. Washington got better. Like, they picked up Andrew Mangiapane because TJ Oshie's done. They get Logan Thompson to go with Charlie Lindgren. Washington's going to still try to compete, even though they want to get Ovechkin that record.
I find it hard to, yeah, they are. And I give them credit. I think I said this somewhere, probably just tweeting as I'm watching all day, that, I like how the Capitals are, what they're doing around Ovechkin compared to like what the Penguins are doing around Crosby. Like, it just feels better. Like, I think
it does feel better. It does feel better.
But they're still not saying we're giving up and we're tanking. Or the other guy, the other side, did some weird stuff for me today. I don't know.
Yeah, Kevin Hayes. Kevin Hayes.
Weird.
Like, I don't get that one. That one was weird. They still got to move out Tristan Jarry. They have Nedeljkovic. Like, they got some weird stuff that they have to take care of. But I like what Washington has done. And look, Logan Thompson. Look, it came out. Logan Thompson requested a trade, not out of spite, but he wants to be a number one goaltender, and I think he's the number one there right now. And look, don't forget, we mentioned it before. Washington has Dubois there, but he's gonna be challenged by Dylan Strome to be the number one center over there. So, I mean, look, the Metro is becoming the best division again in hockey. Like I said, Jacob Trouba's name's out there. Could Pajot be traded or bought out? The buyout windows right now. Jeff Skinner got bought out. Hey, Buffalo fans, here you go. Jeff Skinner is getting bought out. And I talked to a couple of people in Buffalo. They believe that Levi and Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen is going to be the duo this year. They need to get a defensive defenseman because it's too offensively minded right now, and they hope to add this. And I was like, well, I hope that works too because they need something. They need to get a scorer up there. And I said personally, I think they need a goaltender because you're still risking something here, right? You're still I know Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen is doing well, but if he had just a nice backup, I feel more comfortable in the Sabres.
Me too. I would have thought someone like Talbot or something like that with UPL and some kind of a splash. I don't know what they can do, but they feel so stale. They draft well. We know they do. They draft well. We see it, and I know it. I mean, Savoy is sitting there. Is he going to play? But what are you going to do with him? He's a 5 foot. He's a small center.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know what you do up here to make a difference. You know what I mean? And especially one thing, Jim, the East is so good.
Well, think about it. The division alone is going to be flipped around, right? So we know Boston's going to try to make a run at Monahan or at Lindholm, right? We know this. They know it, right? They know this.
Right.
It's just crazy. We've already talked about Stamkos potentially going to Detroit. Toronto's going to have a better defense. Tampa's looking different. What about Florida? I mean, yes, there's opportunities, but there's not. Montreal's going to be better. Yeah. Ottawa's better, right? They have on own and then we forget about not only their own division. New Jersey's going to get better, and New Jersey made moves today. They traded out John Marino and his $4.4 million. Utah has 2 defensemen now. They also traded Alexander Holtz, which I've been telling you for months was going to happen, along with Akira Schmid. Schmid needs a new fresh start. Holtz needs a fresh start. It made sense. I know everybody looks at the value. Holtz was never, ever, 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 that's a lot of evers, going to be a defensive forward for the New Jersey Devils. He is a goal scorer. He's an offensive-minded player. They never used him that way. And he's going to go to a Vegas team where he's going to be used that way. Similar to what we saw with Sharon Govich with Calgary. Oh, by the way, real quick, I know I'm going long-winded here because I want to get John's opinion on some things. I spoke with Craig Conroy after the draft on Friday night. I asked him about Sharon Govich coming from New Jersey. He loves him, didn't know what to expect, grew into a player, loves what he has, loves what he brings. He can't wait to see Kevin Ball play. So, Flames fans out there, you're getting some nice young prospects from New Jersey. Look, Sharon Govich, he loves him, and he didn't know what to expect, and he's done better. So he's only progressing, and he just loves the kid's work ethic, and he's only going to get better. So the Devils have made room because come July 1st, they're getting defensemen. Speaking with their general manager today, they are revamping that defense, and it started today with John Marino. Brett Pesce will be a New Jersey Devil on Monday. Bank on it right now. Bank on it.
What does that look like on your mind? Like, what's that contract look like for Pesce?
I think 6 years at 6.
6 years at 6. Okay. Yeah. And what's he?
That
30?
seems to be what the going rate is for these types of defensemen, right? 6 at 6. I think they may go after Dylan. Maybe Zadorov, who now Canucks, or he said he's not coming back. Canucks made all their moves. They got Bluger. They keep Joshua. They keep Myers. Right. They keep all their guys. Let's see what they do there. But I think, Zadorov's going to be out there. Montour's out there. The Devils want to get nastier. They want to be tougher to play against. And they want to be good defensively. That's what Tom Fitzgerald has talked about. They want to be better defensively. I think they still need a goal scorer, in my opinion. Their top 6 needs to be better. Despite, Dawson Mercer coming along and I get it. But they still need a finisher. Marty Necas isn't that finisher. And I don't think they were ever in on the Marty Necas. I really don't. I don't think that's the type of player they needed. They know what they need. And look, maybe they trade for his rights. You don't know. But I think, to me, this is a great, this is a great day for the Devils because they played it well.
Yeah, I thought they had they had a good day. I really, you said about Washington, I thought they had a great day. I love the way Utah has acted and the way they're acting. They're spending, they're doing stuff. It's kind of exciting what they're up to. They look like they're, in
Absolutely.
It.
I mean, Utah's Ryan Smith, well, it feels different, right? This Arizona Coyotes expansion that didn't work, that never felt like they did anything. Ryan Smith wants to make this team competitive, and he's doing it the right way, right? He's done it, right? He's done it, and he's going to continue to do it. And they want to, and Matt Duchene is probably going to be coming off the market. That's why Chris Tanev was moved to Toronto. They want to bring back Matt Duchene. Dallas Stars really like what Matt Duchene brought to them this year, so he's going to be remaining with the Dallas Stars. That'll be announced shortly. But look, you think about it, right? A lot of trades happen. We talked about the Golden Knights, what they did. Yep. Bruins made a trade. Again, it was very, very active on day 2, like it always is. And, the drafting, like we mentioned Utah, Taja Ginla, what a pickup. Awesome pickup. Like, that's a great pickup, right? Because, I don't think Jerome really wanted his kid to go to Calgary. Like, that wouldn't have made sense for him. It just wouldn't.
You want him to do his own thing, and it's perfect where he's going to be. I mean, he's going to be a star in Utah. And who I thought had a good day too, maybe draft-wise, more than anything else, was Montreal. I thought
Montreal did great yesterday. Dimitrov, and then they pick up Haig. That was a great pickup. Then they get Koivu's kid. They did the thing, right? They did the thing.
Nice.
So, I mean, I liked it. I like what San Jose did too. They picked up Dickinson and they picked up Celebrini. That was really good.
Celebrini, I didn't realize with his parents and that kid's ready. I mean, he's
so ready. I think he might go back. I think,
yeah,
he's ready to go, man. He wants in. He wants in badly. But he's not. I don't know if he wants to come this year, but I think he definitely wants to come. I think maybe one more year. BU unfinished business. Try to win a national title.
Yeah. He looks like but he's like, and it must be from his father and all that. But doesn't he just has that thing about him like that? Nothing. He's ready for the media. He's ready for everything. He's just kind of like he's that new kind of athlete.
I mean, he's been around his dad and everything. It's just one of those things that the kid's ready. You know what he needs to do. But again, they have talent there, right? Will Smith's still there. We're not sure on Ekblad, but you think about what they got in Dickinson. They have a defenseman they can build around. Zeb Bouillon going to Minnesota. What a steal that was. The Devils get Anton Selyev at 10. Like, he was supposed to be higher and wasn't. Guess what? Like, hey, that's the way the cookie crumbles sometimes,
I got to ask you, and I know we touched on it, but it just came up on my laptop here, and it was we talked about the Penguins doing what they did with Kevin Hayes, and I know they ate 50%, so it's 3.5. Has there been any? Did you hear anything about them at all? Like, it's weird. It was so strange.
Weird dynamic with them, right? Like, you don't know what's going on, right, with them. Like, they're so unsure with what they're doing, right? So, like, Pittsburgh, like, they definitely want to try to move Jari, but again, until it happens, it's dead. Like, same with the Trouba stuff. Until it happens, it happens. Like, as Elliot likes to say, because that was really picking up, and then it just didn't happen. Like, for some reason, it just look. The deal is maybe they could get it done on Sunday. There's still time. The Rangers want to move Trouba's contract. They want to. They have to. They need the money.
And that's Detroit. Detroit is the one that seems to be
that seems to be it. Now, I don't know why Yzerman would want to bring on $5.5 million.
Right. So what we do know, and what you could get, Brett Pesce, you could guarantee. You're pretty much guaranteeing it's happening.
I've talked to a couple of people. That one pretty much seems to be a lock.
I'm guessing Tanev. I don't know what it's going to be, but you would assume that they.
I would assume Tanev
is a Maple Leaf. I'll tell you, man. This July 1st. It should be busy for everyone. Like, if you watch the shows and everybody seems to die and they seem to be tired and there's nothing to talk about.
Well, I mean, because technically free agency doesn't open until 12, right?
Right.
And the shows start at like 9, 10 or whatever. I mean, it's not as bad as trade deadline when it starts at like 8:30 and there's like nothing to talk about for like 4 hours. Like, the trades don't really start until like 11. But I think free agency always opens at 12 o'clock, right?
Yeah. Yep.
So things are good. Like I said before, there's no such thing as tampering, but there's tampering. Like, everybody's fucking talking to everybody. Sorry, I slipped again on this show. It's supposed to be a professional show here. But everybody's supposed to be talking to everybody, and we know it doesn't happen, right? Like, we know tampering happens. And we know, but they're allowed to now. Like, the window is now open for people to, talk to others. So if you think about it, right, you look and you say to yourself, okay, what are we doing? And you say, okay, well, we know Tanev, Toronto. We know Pesce. Brandon Dillon may come to New Jersey too. That seems to be. Now, where's Jonathan Marchessault still? Because they're still working on a deal to try to get that done. Obviously, don't forget, Detroit also has RFAs in Seider and Lucas Raymond. Do they bridge Raymond and they try to sign the Seider long term? Jacob Chikrin's name's still out there from Ottawa. They feel like, I don't think Brandstrom's coming back. Like, they're trying to do some things up in Ottawa. I liked what LA did. I thought LA did pretty good. I mean, they got 1 year at Jeannot. Who cares? Like,
right.
But they got the dead cap space that they didn't need with Dubois out of there. It's going to be interesting on Monday just because like everything's set up today, but I still think something could happen on Sunday when I'm traveling. Like, I really do believe that something will happen in the air.
I gotta think,
or before I even take off, who knows?
Right. Yeah. When I was sitting watching this and Tampa was doing what they were doing, and like in 45 minutes, they got rid of all that. I was thinking to myself, man, that's really, I mean, I thought that was really good stuff. I mean, like, I'm thinking, boy, that's like really good proactive. You know, you're doing what you got to do. You're doing it.
Right.
You know what you got to do. You've done it. You know, you're making the hard choice. You're doing the stuff. And then I just don't, the Stamkos thing, I cannot wait to see what happens on Monday. I cannot imagine that they're walking. I just can't believe, because I don't even know if they need to do it. Like, I know it's a business, but he's still good. It isn't like we're talking Tavares, who's okay. This guy still plays at a level
this guy still plays great, but you disrespected him.
Man, yeah.
You disrespected him.
You disrespected him. Like, and I would assume every time I heard that the Leafs were going to make a deal with Marner, that could be a kind of a, hey, you want to stay.
Well, when we heard Utah was going to be active today, everybody thought, oh, maybe Marner, and then like no, nobody expected Sergachev.
I cannot believe. I mean, I read what Berube's quote was, and I was like,
really, it really can't be running this back, can we? Can we really be doing this? Can we really be doing this again?
Because what would the difference be? Tanev and the coach. That'd be your difference. Because that's about, I think that might be all you could do. I don't know what more they could do, other than the little things as usual. You know, okay, good. Maybe I won't have, David Kampf. I have somebody else, whatever. You know what I mean? The little things.
It doesn't make sense, man. Like, it doesn't make any sense.
Unless they're just waiting for next year. I don't know. I don't know.
Look, you have all this cap space next year. I get it. But, like,
is Marner a great
what are you doing? I mean, maybe you could do, okay. I was thinking about this. If you gave him a 1-year deal extension, what would it look like? It better be less than what he's making now.
It can't be.
It can't be more, right?
It can't be more than Nylander for sure. I mean, they if they don't make this tough, I'll be stunned because I if Kyle Dubas was here and they claim he wanted to make this move on, I still wonder about that. But okay, you can't. I'll lose a lot of respect. I thought for sure this was what Tree Living was here for, was to make this. You
can't keep run. Like, how many times can you run it back, man? Like, this should have been broken up years ago.
Did they fall in love with just making the playoffs? Is it just because they'll make the playoffs again?
They'll make the playoffs again. Like, they do it for fun. We make the playoffs for fun and we lose. Like,
that's what I mean. Like, are they just? Is that? I mean, this is like old school Maple Leaf stuff. We're making the playoffs a big deal because you get you'd get the money from the tickets. I can't imagine MLSE is worried about that. So I mean, like. You know what I mean? Like, it feels like they fall in love with the security.
Right. And we haven't really talked about those scoring wingers out there, right? Obviously, we've talked about the D, but don't forget, obviously, besides Monahan and Lindholm, Chandler Stevenson's out there. Like, he's a good player. Marcia still's out there. Sean Walker's still available on D. Maybe he's another player that can go to New Jersey. Tarasenko's going to be a free agent. Teravainen's a free agent. Toffoli. Matt Roy could go places. DeBrusk. Jonathan Drouin feels like it's a lock to stay, man. He feels like he's a stay there. I mean, look, there are nice pieces out there. Henrique's not a left winger. He's a center. I don't know why people list him as a left wing. He's a center. But if like Duclair's still around, like we know Anthony Manta's not coming back. David Perron, like we know Cam Atkinson just got bought out because he didn't want to get traded to San Jose, which is his right. There's a lot of good players out there still available via free agency. And the dominoes will fall early. So, I mean, like the big thing came out of the weekend, right? Like, yeah, day one was a little slow, but day two is always where it's at. And man, we got blockbuster trades.
Yeah, sure did. I mean, I look at what Washington had a great weekend. I mean, I didn't expect it. Did you? I didn't think of Washington Capitals in my mind.
No, I didn't think Washington Capitals were going to be like this, but they got good players. They, San Jose Sharks did well. New Jersey did well. They got some good pieces. But again, like I said, the big thing is coming out of here is Tampa stole headlines. If you saw my Twitter, like I put the picture up of the sphere with Tampa. They stole headlines because it's Stamkos, Sergachev got moved, Hedman extension, and they're not even close on that either. So they want to announce this thing Monday, and they're not even close on that.
And I'll say this as Devils fans out there, once again, I know the biggest I almost swore, the biggest complaint is was the goaltending from last year. You got
goaltending now. You got it.
And things are happening. And the best part about it is you have, and this is just because I'm a Leafs guy, you have that setup where no one goes above a certain amount. So you don't ever have to worry about getting into the jam of, the big four, big three. You're never going to say that. New Jersey.
You're not. You're not going to say it. And New Jersey's going to be active. Trust me, they're going to be active on Monday, and they may not be finished trading yet either.
And that's the problem when I look at a team like Buffalo, Ottawa, Detroit, any of them that didn't make the playoffs or whatever. You have a team in New Jersey that, if you had to,
they fell short of expectations.
Now, I'm betting they're going to make the playoffs. So
I would hope they made the playoffs.
I would think they're going to have 95 points or better, so they'll make it. You know what I mean? Like, no matter, just a matter of the positioning. That takes a spot away, man. And some of these teams better get moving. In Buffalo, please.
Buffalo's one. Carolina's going to look a lot different. We said Florida will look different. Look, Islanders got to get work done. Look, Rutger McGroarty is not going to developmental camp next week for Winnipeg Jets. He doesn't want to be there. Could Nikolai Ehlers be on the move for defenseman? Leon Draisaitl continues to make noise. Like, what is he like? What are they going to do with that? It is ridiculous what is going on out here in regards to like the chatter and the noise. Again, the draft is over. I think everybody's just taking a break. Again, we both said it. The draft looked unbelievable. Hats off to National Hockey League for what they did. I was lucky enough to be there for Fanatics yesterday when they did the unveil of the jerseys. Those things look sweet, man. Like, they got that old school CCM feel. So people who are listening, watching, don't be afraid. Just don't be afraid. Don't listen to the critics, because these things are really good. A lot of input from the players. Look, awards are awards. Like, look, hats off Nathan McKinnon. He got the Hart Trophy. Good for him. But these guys don't want to be here. They just want to hang out. But the draft looked awesome.
And when Michael Buffer comes out, that had to be incredible.
Michael Buffer was awesome. Celine Dion was there. That was cool. The way it looked, the way it felt, everything was awesome. Yeah. Just hats off to everybody at the National Hockey League. But again, a big day here. Day 2 live from Las Vegas. The NHL Draft, just unbelievable. And, it started all day, and it continues as we get ready for free agency frenzy on Monday. But this is a big collaboration. Full Press Hockey Podcast. Final word on hockey. Check it out. Spitball Sports, Mad Radio, Northeast Streaming Sports. Guys, check it out. We'll be back again for another episode next week. Enjoy free agent frenzy. Hope you guys enjoyed the draft coverage. Again, Jim Biringer here. John Restaino. iTunes, Spotify, wherever you get your podcast. Take care and enjoy the day.
Barry Trotz, Nashville Predators, making sure you're listening to Full Press Hockey Podcast.